A few months ago, I made a video titled My Love-Hate Relationship with Elite Dangerous. It was a rather lengthy analysis of Frontier Development's giant multiplayer space simulator. Elite is a divisive game for a number of reasons, and you don't have to search through the video's comments very long to see evidence of this. As the title suggests, there are things I love and hate about Elite. It has objective, undeniable flaws, as well as objective, undeniable achievements. But one of Elite's most divisive features, at least by my estimation, is its long travel time. Flying in and around star systems, usually in what Elite calls supercruise, can take anywhere from minutes to more than half an hour, and while jumping in between individual star systems only takes a few seconds, jumping through multiple star systems that span over hundreds or even thousands of light years can easily take a few hours. Frontier's magnificent recreation of the Milky Way is on a one-to-one scale, so moons, planets, stars, and nebulae are all, relative to the player, as big as they would be in real life, as are the distances between them. This is why Elite is so big, and this size, which includes 400 billion star systems, means there's a lot of empty space, and this empty space makes for that long, often uneventful travel time. There's a lot wrong with Elite. Its economy doesn't always make sense, missions can feel uninspired, all things I talked about in my video on Elite. But travel time is an aspect I refrain from lumping into that pile of problems because I actually really enjoy Elite's travel time, appreciate it even. Before I explain exactly why I enjoy it, we'll actually need to talk about something other than Elite. Actually, what we need to talk about isn't a game at all. We need to talk about kimchi. Kimchi is a traditional Korean side dish often made from fermented vegetables like radish and cabbage and topped with ingredients like fish sauce and scallions. And you know what else? I hate it. I can't stand kimchi. I don't want kimchi in, on, or around anything I eat. However, I'd be incorrect to argue that kimchi shouldn't be eaten by anyone, that no matter your taste, the nature of food itself somehow precludes the inclusion of kimchi as a dish. I can choose what foods I want, and there are plenty of foods that don't include kimchi, thank God. As long as that holds true, my kimchi intake should stay at a happy zero, and those who like it can have as much as they want. Elite isn't a space opera, it's a simulator. Its universe is persistent, one built on a relatively grounded foundation. This is why there's procedures to docking, why there's all kinds of numbers and stats that measure your ship's characteristics, and why Elite's date is counted down from the year to the date, minute, and even second. It's a reactive, immersive, ongoing universe where players experience and affect its past, present, and future. I believe that, for the most part, Elite's long travel times are an important part of this immersion. By their very nature, simulators are designed, to varying degrees, to reflect reality. This means things like convenience and intuitiveness could and should be sacrificed in favor of realism. Squad, a multiplayer military simulator by Off-World Industries, has weapon sway and strict stamina enacted to replicate combat fatigue, forcing players to favor better firing positions and move slowly. Stamina and weapon sway are tedious, but they're a tedious part of reality, making them an important element of Squad. By developing Elite within the context of simulation, Frontier's challenge isn't necessarily making it realistic, but figuring out what realistic actually means. Squad's simulation is based on modern infantry combat. It's a point of reference humanity has an abundance of experience in. Elite is space travel far beyond anything humanity's gotten close to. It's a point of reference that doesn't exist. So tedious things like constant refueling, docking procedures, and long travel times are elements I'd consider reasonable guesses as to what humanity would, and maybe one day will, have to deal with in reality. For me, long travel times make the universe feel tangible, make it feel real. The empty space in between planets may be empty, but it's an emptiness that exists in reality. It connects everything, a fabric dotted by islands of gas and rock. I enjoy conquering vast distances, flying at speeds that far exceed light, and watching planets, moons, and stars move by at speeds, relative to me, that no human has ever witnessed. It's a galaxy where no one player is special. You're a nondescript pilot who's both physically and technologically small, microscopic. You and humanity, by extension, are still relatively powerless, at the mercy of physical reality. Taking time to get places emphasizes that, even with all your technological advancements. Realize my enjoyment of traveling is a subjective opinion. Like my hate for kimchi doesn't mean you have to hate it, my enjoyment of Elite's size and travel time doesn't mean you have to enjoy it. As Elite's development has progressed, Frontier's added various mechanics that make some of its tediousness a little less tedious, and done so, importantly, within the context of simulation. You can equip a docking computer on your ship that'll automatically land it, and Elite recently added Super Cruise Assist, essentially an autopilot mode that makes some of those longer flights a bit easier. These additions make sense both from the perspective of gameplay and Elite's fictional universe. They're tools that feel well within the technological limits of humanity in 3305, and they're optional. If you're like me and for whatever the hell reason you enjoy manually docking, you're still able. I'd totally accept it if Frontier added some way to make Super Cruise faster, or if there was a mini jump you could use to quickly cover large distances. As long as it's something Frontier wants to do, it exists within the context of simulation and is optional. In my love-hate video, I said that I think some of Elite's bigger star systems do present unreasonable travel times, but this is with regards to Elite's economy. Longer missions that have players travel farther distances don't always make sense from an economic standpoint. Sometimes their payout doesn't compensate for the time they take, and it makes more sense to accept multiple shorter missions you can complete and get paid for more quickly. And perhaps Frontier eventually solves this by tweaking the economy, or maybe Frontier adds a way to make in-system travel easier or more active. I'm open to both. I refuse to provide specific examples of what easier and more active travel means because, quite frankly, I have no idea. I don't make games, and I think it's easy to speculate on changes Frontier could make without knowing the work that would be involved, nor how it would inadvertently affect other game mechanics. ObsidianAnt, a creator who does some fantastic work making videos about Elite and other games, recently made 2 videos about long travel times. It's what prompted me to make this video. His videos are, more specifically, about the relationship between scale and time, that travel time is often used to communicate space's enormous scale to players, and over the course of 2 videos, builds an argument as to why there are better ways to communicate scale, as well as why he personally doesn't like long travel times. I'd recommend watching them, both links I'll leave in the description. After watching through the videos myself and looking through some of the reaction, I thought it was worth a response. ObsidianAnt's arguments, I think, are sound and well articulated, much in line with the rest of his content, but the title of his first video, Should In-System Space Travel Be Fun, is, even while I certainly agree with some of the points he makes, a really tricky question, and he says as much in his second video where he directly addresses the question.
Now this one is a sticky question and is of course entirely subjective. That being the case, I will relay some opinions that I have seen from other people here and then express my own opinion.
Outside of ObsidianAnt's videos, it doesn't take you very long to find someone complaining about Elite on the basis of fun. I'll concede this is anecdotal, but I think it's a prominent enough complaint about Elite that certain elements of the game simply aren't fun, and long travel times, for numerous reasons, are a part of this. But I think it's extremely limiting to say that because something isn't fun, or because someone doesn't find something fun, that it shouldn't be worked into a game. I think there's a distinction between fun and enjoyment, between fun and entertainment. Squad doesn't come off as a game designed primarily to be fun. It comes off as a game designed to be tactically stimulating and to simulate realistic combat. While I don't have first-hand combat experience, I'd assume Squad mostly succeeds and through its success becomes fun. Squad can be extremely boring. If your squad is given the objective to watch a city's flank, you may go minutes, even an hour, without seeing a single enemy or firing a single shot. You may go an entire match without doing either of those things. But there are those, including myself, that enjoy that level of realism, that level of tactical depth, precisely because it's realistic. Elite is attempting to be realistic, at least in a hard science fiction sense, and it's this realism I enjoy. I enjoy more laid-back space shooters too, like the excellent Everspace by Rockfish Games. There's more than enough room in video games for both extremes. As I said, if Frontier ever added a way to make long travel times shorter, I'd be completely in favor of it, barring that it's really something they want to do as artists and developers, that it's done within the context of simulation, and that I could still have the option for standard Super Cruise. Elite is far from perfect, this I can't say enough, but for all my complaints, I can't help but be grateful that Frontier remains committed to Elite status as a simulator. In a time when games are made from the ground up for long-term monetization and to appease please the largest possible audience, Frontier goes about its business making a rigid simulator that at times demands your attention and at other times demands your patience. Elite isn't a game for the mass market. It's not a title that'll ever compete or be as lucrative as Destiny or The Division, but it achieves and creates things Destiny and The Division can't. Those franchises aren't bad, those games are fine, I've played them myself. But we should celebrate and be grateful of artists who make universes based on vision, ambition, and passion. Developers who aren't afraid of taking chances, of making games that won't appeal to everyone, and we shouldn't be mad when a game doesn't go out of its way to appeal to us. That's what Frontier is doing, and all of Elite's tedious mechanics, some of which could be better structured and some of which can't, are all of part of that. Only as long as they don't add Kimchi, of course.